Welcome back to the Navy Sports Magazine. We're presented by the Navy Federal Credit Union. Sprint football off to a 2-0 start after they beat Cornell in the wet on Friday at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. And Luke Wagner joins us now. And Luke, for you guys, what was the difference from game one to game two? It just seemed like much cleaner execution for your team on Friday.
Yeah, game one, Mansfield. We knew they were going to be a great team, and we played them close. Like we were trailing going into halftime. But that kind of served as like a motivation to really lock in for week two. And we saw that they beat the new team by 50 points. So everyone was locked in and just focusing on that game. Not really looking ahead to Army just yet, just to make sure we take each game week by week. And it paid off this past Friday.
I know there's great expectation for the Navy Sprint football team, just as there is at Army in this league. But meeting that expectation every day for your team, you've been through a few of these seasons now. What is it like every day just to meet the expectation that this Sprint football program has set for itself?
Yeah, the Navy Sprint football team has really high expectations for the players on the team. Not necessarily with regard to football, but with how you do in the hall. You're expected to perform academically, to behave, and then when it comes to the game of football, you're expected to put the time in for film. You're expected to practice hard each and every day, and to play for the guy to your left and your right.
Is it like having a guy like Captain Redding, obviously, who's, he's been a Navy Sprint football player himself. So he has a buy-in to that standard of Navy Sprint football.
Yes, sir. It's been great having Captain Reading here. Having a guy that's done all the fourth quarters, played for his entire time while he's at the academy. And then for him to want to come back and give back to this very team that most of us will say, like, gave us it all at the academy. It's just one of the coolest things, and it definitely makes us buy in a lot more.
For most of you, you've got football in your background. This is a way to continue playing football here, obviously, at the collegiate level as part of the physical mission at the Naval Academy. To be able to do that, what does that mean to you to still be able to play the game of football? Because you come from an area where football is a pretty busy thing.
Yes, sir. We like to say that our football careers ended in high school, and that our Navy Sprint football career started here. It's totally different, to be honest. In high school, you're playing for your fans, you're playing for your family, for your school. But for Navy Sprint football, completely different. You're playing for something that's completely bigger than yourself. You're putting your body on the line, whether it's cutting or during the game, you're expected to just perform. But you're putting out for the guy to your left and your right, because it's not really about you. And like, that's what's so great about Sprint football.
Obviously, your brother is a tennis player. I'm sure you guys have played a few times during the course of your career. You even got a letter in high school playing tennis. Have you ever beat your brother playing tennis?
So never beat my older brother in tennis. He's by far much better than me, but I have a twin brother who's pretty much the same skill level as me. And when we play, it gets super competitive, usually ends in some fights and a few bad words probably said, but me and him probably go about 50-50 every time we play.
I love it. It's that competitive gene, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
You're obviously in your senior year now. What has this experience just at the Naval Academy meant, and how much have you developed as a person, and maybe even changed as a person over 4 years here at the Academy?
Yeah, coming in here, I don't know, coming from Oklahoma into the Naval Academy, it's completely changed who I am as a person. I would like to say my family and my parents set a really good foundation for me growing up. And the Naval Academy just completely built on that foundation. And I've been able to find a ton of great groups here and great men to hang out with. And especially with the Navy Sprint football team. When you come in, the program changes you, this culture changes you, and by the time you graduate, you're part of that legacy of all the guys that have been before you.
When they mention that word brotherhood, what does the word brotherhood mean to you now after being a part of this for 4 years?
It means everything. That's what our team culture is. Um, you no longer, kind of as I said before, no longer kind of playing for personal aspirations. You're playing for the guy to your left and your right, and you'll do anything for him to succeed. And I feel like that's what's had a great impact on me as a player, and everyone else on our team.
What's the key now, obviously, to continue building on this success? And, they talk about how teams get better week 1 to week 2 and gradually like that. But what's the key now for you all to keep building on this and continue to reach your goals?
Yeah, it's taken each game week by week. This week with Army, I mean, they're a fantastic football team. They're pooling from the same kids in America that Navy Sprint football is. And so this Friday, it's going to be a battle of wills, and kind of who wants it more. And we couldn't be more blessed to be partaking in the game with a great team like Army.
I was going to say, we talk about it, over the 36 varsity sports, obviously, that the Naval Academy offers. Can you just take us inside what that rivalry means and, your view on it? Because, obviously from the day you arrive, it's go Navy, beat Army.
Yeah, it's ingrained in us here. And like the plebes, when they square corners, they're saying "Go Navy, beat Army." But playing on an actual athletic team that gets to compete against Army, it just means that much more. Schoolwork is done the weekend before. You're not focusing on any schoolwork this week. You're doing film. You're making sure your practice is as perfect as it can be, because we know Army is doing the same exact thing, and that's what makes this game of sprint football so great. We know they're putting in the same amount of work, and at the end of the day, you're coming to the battle on Friday for that battle of wills that we kind of talked about. And we're just so fortunate and blessed to be able to play a team like Army.
Yeah, I know. Glad to have 6 weeks exams behind you, aren't you?
That's right. Yes, sir.
No doubt about it. Luke, appreciate you taking so much time for us. Best of luck to you and your teammates as you guys try to move to 3-0 this week.
Yes, sir. That's right.